Hi everybody, it's Christy here, and this is day 2 of the 12 Days of Christmas. Our hosts are Rustic and Lace DIY and Crafting in Mimi's World. Make sure you check them out. Links are in my description. Alright, we're going to get started here. I have this wood round that I had already painted. We're going to use blue, green, and red. I end up getting black out also, and some gray and some white. But I had this wood round here that I'd already done the back, and what I used was Valspar antiquing glaze on the back, on the base, and then I used school glue and then white paint on top to get that crackle effect. I'm going to use my Essential Stencils. I am an ambassador for Essential Stencil. If you use the code FUNKYJUNK, all one word, at checkout, you can save 10%. The link to that and everything is also in my description. So we're going to use this Christmas stencil here, and as you can see, I'm going to put paint on my brush, and then I'm just going to kind of work that paint up into the bristles. So you see that how it was up in the bristles, and then I'm going to offload. The less the paint, the better. You want the least amount of paint on your brush as possible, and you actually have a lot more paint on your brush than you think. Now you can use an up and stippling motion. You could use makeup wedges. I like using stencil brushes, and I go in a circular motion. Now this particular stencil has some very fine, small bridges for the back of that truck. So I kind of go straight down on top of it to help with moving those bridges around, which does happen, and you do get paint under there. But we don't sweat the small stuff around here at Funky Junk Inspiration. That's no fun, right? We want to have fun, relaxing. Crafting's supposed to be awesome and amazing. As you can see there, my bridges moved a little bit on me, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. Okay, so as you can see here, the red I was using was barn red. Now I'm going to use an evergreen color to get the tree. I am just using these pieces of cardstock. They're actually the dividers that come in your stencils, and I cut them up and I keep them right on my craft table to block off where I don't want certain paints to go when I am stenciling. So here we go with the evergreen color, and we're just going to put that on there. You'll see in just a minute that I decide that I need to change this up just a little bit because I want that tree to look like it has snow on it. So we will fix that in a minute. But another thing, we do not sweat the small stuff. If you get a little bit of green where there's supposed to be red, if you get a little red where there's supposed to be green, it's okay. If you actually look really close at some of the things that are for sale in stores that are mass produced and stuff like that, they have little boogers on them too, and little boo-boos and things. We are doing fun art, not fine art. Always remember that. Okay, so I'm going to use navy blue here to do my lettering. It just looks kind of cool, a little something different than black. Now I do end up changing it towards the end, so you'll see me. I am always changing my mind. A lot of times I have to tell myself, you just need to stop, because otherwise, I would just keep changing things. So right there. Now see, I said, look at that. That needs to be white there because it's supposed to be snow, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some white paint and a paintbrush, and I'm just going to fill in that area where it looks like it's supposed to be snow. Now in doing that, I put white where the window should be. So here in a minute, we're going to grab some gray and kind of go over the window area. Now what you can do, this works perfectly to do this on when you're stenciling, is I could put that white on there, and I just lay that stencil right back down and go back over it with the green and make those spots all crisp and everything there. Here I am grabbing the gray paint. This gray paint is chalked paint by Rust-Oleum. I love it. I buy it in the quart. I usually buy it at Menards. They have it at, they even have it on Amazon, but it's more bang for your buck, and I use it in these FIFO bottles. Now this one's clogged up a little bit because I haven't used that gray for a little while, so I just took the lid off. And sometimes it's just as easy to do that, right? So I just kind of put the gray where the back window is supposed to be, where it looked like to me, and I'm just laying the stencil back down to go over that. So here we go with the barn red for the truck color, and then we're going to do our green over the green area. And we just redo that right there. Very simple. Now I want to let you guys know that I am recording my voiceover in the vehicle because I was running behind today. So if you hear cars, you hear my car in the background, that's what it is. No, I am not driving. I'm in the passenger seat. Just wanted to let you know that. But that's why there's a little bit of background noise, but I'm hoping that you can hear me good enough. Okay, so I'm just fixing that green there, again, using my cardstock, and that looks a little bit better. Kind of looked at it, and it was like, it kind of looks a little bit funny, but I wasn't sure what it was that I was missing. And I laid that back down there to do the tires, and eventually I go back in with the green and fix that little spot that looks kind of funny to me. And I did the tires black, and I did the mirror black. I thought that looked kind of cool. And now I'm going to do this license plate black. I think that just kind of makes that little license plate just pop off of there. So just to add a little more texture and tone to our project. So now I'm just kind of looking at that, and I decide around my back lights, I'm thinking I want it gray, kind of like a dull matte gray chrome type of look. Not really chrome because chrome is shiny, but you guys know what I mean, to go around those little lights back there. So I did that, laid the stencil back down, stenciled again, and got those all nice and clean. Then I decided I'm just going to go around all the little edges with the gray, because I kind of like the way that gray looked, and to help with some of that bleed through that I happened to get on there, so from where that moved over. But actually, I'm not doing that part right now. Right now, I'm filling in my bridges with the navy blue. So I don't normally fill in bridges, but I don't know. I just kind of felt like it might look a little different. It's very easy to do. You just take a fine brush. Actually, Essential Stencil has some little brushes that are just perfect. I think you get 4 in a package, maybe 6, I can't remember, but of some fine brushes to be able to fill in your bridges and different things like that. So make sure you look at brushes when you go to the Essential Stencil page, because not only do they have stencil brushes, but they have real fine stencil brushes to get into some really small areas, but they also have the detail brushes too. So that is nice. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at my project while I'm drying it right here and trying to decide exactly, what do I want to do? And that's when I decide what I just said a few minutes ago. I'm going to go around those edges, or where those bridges were for this, with that gray. And then we'll lay our stencil back down just to kind of fill that in so it kind of pops a little bit more. Doesn't just match the background. And it'll pull in also that gray that we did on the window. I don't know, I just thought it might look a little bit, a little different, a little cooler. As I'm watching this video, what I probably should have done is the whole center of those little round things or square things on the back there. We could have done those gray, and that would have looked kind of cool too, but I didn't. Okay, so now I'm just stenciling back over the top of that gray to make our edges nice and sharp, and all that kind of stuff. And I'll have to go over the license plate a little bit also. So, guys, it's the 12 days of Christmas. You guys, stay tuned for 12 days. This is just day 2. More tomorrow. All the videos are released at 7 p.m. Eastern time on each one of the days. Everybody that's involved will have the link to the playlist in their description, so you can just go and click on that and say play all, and each video will play just one right after the other. But what you can do to really help us out as creators over here on YouTube is to make sure you hit the thumbs up that you like our video. Leave us a comment, 3-4 words, just hi, how you doing, what you ate for supper, whatever you got on your mind. You want to give us a little prayer, whatever you're thinking about, just give us a little bit of a comment. That helps a ton for all of us, and every single one of us would absolutely love it if you'd subscribe to our channels. We all have goals and things like that, and it opens up more exciting things for us. So this was day 2, wood rounds. I want to thank my hosts again. I absolutely love them to death, and I forgot an important part that I always do on my videos. well, not necessarily on my videos, but on my projects, I always frame in the outside of my project. So right here, I'm just going to take black and I'm going to go around that edge right there. And what that does is that frames in your projects. It draws your eye to the center of the project and what you actually have on your board. So I usually do that, and I kind of hit around with a little bit of black right there. And there is our project. There is our sweet little, I'm going to sand it a little bit too. But here is our nice little farmhouse Christmas, and I'm going to put a hole right here. I like to use my crocodile on these thin boards. Makes it easy to punch a hole, and we're going to grab some jute and make us a little hanger. Now, this is a very thin board. I like using the thinner ones on my doors so that my screen door can close very easily, especially if I do a bow. Again, I want to thank our hostess with the mostest, Rustic Lace DIY, and Crafting in Mimi's World. So make sure you check them out. Love you to hit subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell and you'll get notifications every time I go live. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.